Good morning. Today it's March the 5th, 2015, and here is CISG113, Section 1, Information Security and Privacy. Today is date number 14 into the semester. If you look at the schedule for this week, we have dealt with the first topics on ethical hacking and cracking on Monday, and today is information fraud. And I would like to introduce to you a three-part story today, which is situated in the United States, but increasingly we discover that in Hong Kong, Macau, Taiwan, and now, well, I believe it's so, even in mainland China, something similar would happen. So I would like you to play the role of an investigator today by watching these 3 episodes of the story and discover for yourself what happened, what's wrong with this. But you become the victim, and how you become the victim of this very interesting information fraud created by hackers in the internet, and these are criminals. So what are you going to do? Well, you're just looking for a job and you discover that there are good opportunities online, so you register for it and you went for it. And you believe you have been doing a job which is good enough for you, but all of a sudden you discover you're in big trouble. So let's get started with part 1.
Good evening and welcome to Dateline. I'm Ann Curry. For months now, many Americans have watched helplessly as their jobs and bank accounts have vanished. And too many are falling prey to scam artists who promise easy money in these desperate times. Well, Chris Hansen now investigates how to help you steer clear of these dangers that could trigger even greater financial disaster. Chris?
Thanks, Ann. We've investigated a number of scams where you feel badly for the victims, but you kind of wonder, didn't they see this coming? Well, when you see this, you may instead think, gosh, that could have been me. The scam is smooth, complex, and given these tough times, devastating to the people it ensnares.
Another major sell-off on Wall Street.
The headlines seem to get worse every day.
The Dow was down to 1997 levels.
The economy in a nosedive.
We have lost 3.6 million jobs in this country.
Unemployment at record high.
First-time claims for jobless benefits surged by 7%.
And in the middle of it all, internet criminals are now targeting people desperate to find jobs. Officials warn the scam is spreading nationwide.
One day,
Often with devastating consequences for honest, hardworking families.
I'll give you a pair of sunglasses.
Carol Browning is a single mom, raising a son, a daughter, and a granddaughter. She has a full-time job, a house in a nice neighborhood, but now she's at risk of losing it all.
And I try not to let them see what I'm going through or see me crying or worried about it. But
That's got to be stressful.
it is.
Carol got caught up in one of the biggest scams sweeping the country. As you listen to her story step by step, ask yourself, would you have done anything differently? It all began just before Christmas when Carol was searching online for ways to make some extra money. She spotted an ad for what sounded like a perfect part-time job.
And they were saying, do you like shopping? Be a mystery shopper.
Do you like shopping?
Yeah.
Mystery shoppers are paid by retailers to test whether sales staffs are polite and helpful.
Okay, thank you.
So Carol signed up online and before long got this letter with instructions. It all looked legit. A company name, Mystery Shoppers PLC, an address in New York City, even a toll-free number she had to call for training before she could start. Her assignment? Shop at a local Walmart to test how helpful the staff is. Then, evaluate the service at Western Union by wiring money to another mystery shopper in a different state. The amount to transfer? Just over $3,000. The company told Carol she didn't have to worry about the money. They'd send a check, enough to cover her shopping trip to Walmart, that big Western Union transfer, and her pay for doing the job. In all, a check for $3,850. Did you wonder for a minute, maybe,
I
could
did.
this be too good to be true?
I did.
Carol got the check all right, but she was cautious. So before she did anything else, she says she took the check to a teller at her local bank.
She read it, and she told me, yeah,
Good to go.
that's good. You can get access to your money tomorrow. And I said, you sure? She said, I said, not 7 day hold on it. She said, no, it's clear.
Thinking things were on the up and up, Carol followed the instructions. She deposited the check, withdrew the money from her account, went to Western Union, and wired $3,100 to a company contact in Kansas. Everything seemed fine until a week later, when Carol says she tried to fill up with gas. Her debit card linked to her personal checking account was rejected, so she tried an ATM nearby.
And it wouldn't go through, it said insufficient funds.
Insufficient funds.
This was only for $20.
So you had nothing in your checking account.
Nothing.
Turns out that big check was no good. Even though Carol thought she checked it out, even though her bank gave her the money, it turned out to be a sophisticated counterfeit. And you may be surprised to learn that in cases like that, a bank can still reverse the deposit and hold you responsible. And that's exactly what was happening to Carol.
Pulled the account up and told me that I was overdrawn $3,500 and some dollars, and I said, what?
That's a lot of money.
My life just turned upside down because, I couldn't do nothing but cry. And I asked the man in the bank, I said, check again because this can't be real. He said, yes ma'am, the check been recalled and you got to cover the check.
In effect, Carol hadn't wired the company's money, she'd sent her own, draining her bank account. And the bad news got even worse. The bank said the regular checks Carol had already written for her mortgage, her car, her utilities, all were bouncing. What's more, when her weekly paycheck from her regular job was direct deposited in her account, the bank seized it to help pay off the debt.
I was just devastated. I was just trying to figure out what am I going to do? How am I going to come up with this?
What did you do when you got home that night?
I got some of my jewelry, my rings and bracelets. I took them going shopping. I pawned them.
We wondered, with so many people out of work nowadays, how many cases like Carol's are out there, how much money is being stolen, and who's behind the job scams that are cheating Americans looking for honest work. Join us as we go online and undercover, applying for jobs, and taking you inside the scams. Coming up, a single mom who thought she found a great job online, a payroll clerk.
When you print these checks, did they look real?
Yes, they do. I have one. In your name, would you like to see?
When Promises continues.
Let's go on to read the story. Now this is part 2. Keep track of the information in the story you heard.
We're on the trail of thieves using legitimate websites to cheat Americans desperately searching for jobs in an ailing economy. The scam? Pretend you're a real company, advertise jobs online, then send the new hires big checks and give them a reason to send some of the money back by Western Union. What the victims don't know is they are actually transferring their own money to the thieves, because those checks they've deposited into their accounts may look real, but they're really fakes. And when those counterfeit checks bounce, innocent people like Carol Browning, who thought she just landed a real job, are left holding the bag for thousands of dollars.
He just turned my life upside down.
So who are the crooks? And how did they wind up with the cash?
Thanks for the opportunity to work for your business.
With the help of volunteers, Dateline starts applying for fake work-at-home jobs. We go to well-known websites all across the country, including MySpace Jobs, Simply Hired, and Job Planet. And we discover the scammers placing fake ads, stealing the names of real companies to look legitimate, pretending to be companies like Genentech, a cutting-edge biotech firm, Staples, the office supply powerhouse, even Goldman Sachs, the Wall Street giant.
Sounds very prestigious.
Before long, we're hired by some of the fake companies. And the scammers start sending us money orders and checks. But phone calls to the real companies confirm that checks are counterfeit.
The check is fraudulent and will not be able to clear our bank.
So where are the counterfeits coming from? Dateline discovered the scammers actually recruit innocent people like Debbie Perry to do their dirty work by hiring them as so-called payroll clerks. The jobs may sound legit, but they're really part of the scam.
This is the reason you called me, this check.
Debbie is a single mom from Ohio, and she has an incredible story about how crooks tricked her into writing and sending some of the counterfeit checks. It began when she met a man online. He called himself Jackson Rowland and sent her this picture. And before long, he offered her a part-time job.
He says, I have a job offer, and it's doing payroll for my company. And I says, oh, I don't know anything about payroll. I've never done that before. He said, well, it's easy.
The first step, go to the local office supply store and buy a popular business check writing program called VersaCheck.
And then you get a VersaCheck printer and VersaCheck paper. You know they're priced to the penny.
So you got the feeling he had done this before.
You know, I thought, well, he's legit.
Debbie already had a regular job, but this was a chance to earn extra money in her spare time to put her son through college. So every week, her online boss would send her a payroll list with the names of people who were supposed to get what she thought were legitimate checks.
Now I'm going to enter the routing number.
So let me get this straight. He would give you the routing numbers and the account numbers.
The routing number, the account number, the bank name.
And what about the signature?
He emailed it to me.
Debbie showed us how the check writing program lets you take a copy of a signature and insert it right on the check.
You attach that to the chat program, and it comes out like that.
And when you print these checks, did they look real?
Yes, they do. I have one in your name. Would you like to see it?
I would. In my name.
Yes, I printed one for you.
Chris Hansen, $5,000. These look really real.
They look like a real check, and they even have a watermark on them.
That's amazing. And in the beginning, you thought this was legitimate.
Oh yeah, I thought it was legitimate because he had the signature and everything.
So Debbie began sending the checks out by FedEx and UPS all across the country, not knowing they were headed to people who were targets of the scam.
How many checks do you figure you sent?
Probably about 500 or 600.
500 or 600?
Mm-hmm.
Did you keep those receipts?
I have them all.
Can I see?
And here, this is how many I sent. That's nothing.
And how long did this go on?
That went on for a couple months before I realized what was going on.
Looking back, Debbie says she feels guilty she didn't figure it out earlier, but she finally got suspicious and quit. But not before the scammer, who calls himself Jackson Rowland, had tricked her into sending out the same sort of counterfeit checks that fooled Carol Browning and thousands of other people looking for jobs. And where is the scammer? Dateline showed Debbie how to trace his emails.
In Nigeria.
Nigeria, a place where scams are so common, there's even a music video mocking gullible Americans. Turns out thieves from Nigeria, likely operating out of an internet cafe like this one, had turned Debbie Perry into an unwitting puppet. We don't know how many people fell for the scam, but in all, Debbie sent out more than $750,000 in counterfeit checks. And she's not alone.
How many other Debbies do you think are out there?
Hundreds. In every state, I think he has a handful.
That is a typical scenario.
The nation's top cyber cop, Sean Henry at the FBI, says the troubled economy makes it that much easier for thieves to trick people desperate for work.
It sounds like these overseas scammers have to have, obviously, these puppets here in the United States to carry out their schemes.
And that's where innocent people can be victimized, where they believe that they're moving money for a legitimate company, and in fact, they're an unknowing part of a conspiracy.
The scammer, Jackson Rowland, does most of his talking online. Debbie also has a phone number for him. We're about to see what a thief, likely using somebody else's photo and hiding somewhere in Nigeria, has to say for himself.
This is Debbie.
Hello, how you doing?
Hey, Jackson? Jackson, my name is Chris Hansen. I'm an investigative reporter here in the United States. I want you to explain yourself to me. It appears that you're involved in a check scam online.
Well,
Jackson? Then he hung up. The question, can Dateline beat the scammers at their own game? Can we follow the money and stop it before it gets into the thieves' hands? Coming up, how much money do you owe to the bank?
I personally owe probably around $1,900.
He's a victim, but all is not lost. Dateline targets the thieves who targeted him. And promises continue.
You heard the story. Isn't it amazing? Now you can hear how they reached the scam, all right?
We've seen how online scammers are using phony ads for jobs and counterfeit checks to trick people into sending their own hard-earned cash to thieves overseas. The question, can Dateline actually stop some of the thieves in their tracks?
People in the world are always out there to make a buck.
Michael Montgomery is a business major about to graduate from Arizona State. The son of an attorney, he never thought he'd fall for the fake job scam. But with money tight, Michael was looking for a part-time job to help pay for college. So he posted his resume on Yahoo Hot Jobs in Phoenix. Before long, he got this email offering what sounded like a perfect job he could do from home. A big-time outfit, Compact Computers.
I knew Compact Computers. I knew they're an actual company, so I thought it was legit.
After an online interview with a personnel manager, a man named Scott Nash, Michael was hired to be kind of an online accountant, someone who would help enter data to help Compact keep track of its books. He was told to set up a personal checking account at a Wells Fargo bank. That way, the company could direct deposit his pay and even transfer money to cover his expenses.
I wasn't using any of my own money, so I was like, it's not going to hurt me, so...
What's the problem?
Exactly.
Instead of sending him one of those counterfeit checks, the scammers had an even more ingenious plan. They were telling Michael they had transferred $1,900 directly into his bank account. He was supposed to use some of it for expenses, but was told to forward most of the money by Western Union to a supposed computer supplier who sent him equipment he'd need for the job. Sure enough, when Michael goes to the bank, the money's there, just like the company promised. So he withdraws it, goes to Western Union, and wires away more than $1,700 cash. Turns out Michael had just fallen for a frightening new version of the job scam. He just helped rob someone else's bank account. How did it happen? The thieves had hacked into another account at the same bank, transferred the stolen money electronically into Michael's account. And to get their hands on the cash, they tricked him into sending it to them by Western Union. Michael had become what authorities call a money mule.
Basically laundering money through my account online.
But it gets worse. When the bank discovered the fraudulent transfer, they reversed it and demanded that Michael pay the money back, just like they would with a counterfeit check. So as we sit here now, how much money do you owe to the bank?
I personally owe probably around $1,900. That's it.
Michael thought his money was long gone. A college student looking for an honest job left holding the bag for a gang of thieves. What Michael didn't know was that Dateline had been working for months, trying to track down where money like his was going. In fact, when we answered online ads, we ended up with the same fake job, even the same fake boss as Michael did. The scammer told us to wire the money to a woman in North Carolina. Her name is Linda Meredith.
We'll be getting at least 3 or 4 transactions daily.
She thought she just landed a real job as a so-called transfer agent for a big company. But Dateline told Linda we thought it was a scam. And when we spotted the name of her online boss, the same Scott Nash, we knew we were on the right trail.
This transaction set.
We were watching as the scammer gave Linda one of her first assignments. Pick up money, then forward it overseas to an address in, well, you guessed it, Nigeria. But you'll never guess who the money was coming from.
Michael Montgomery.
That's right. Dateline had been there behind the scenes with Linda the day the scammers originally tricked college student Michael Montgomery into wiring money. Now, the same scammers were sending Linda to Western Union to pick up that money and forward it to them. the last key step in the money trail.
Thank you very much.
Linda picks up the money all right, more than $1,700. But instead of forwarding the money to Nigeria, Linda starts asking her boss some questions.
And I need to make sure that it is not a scam before I forward the money.
When Linda refuses to send the money, it sets off a flurry of angry emails and phone calls from the thieves. Ironically, the scammers accuse Linda of stealing their money. They even threatened to call the FBI. But this time, it's the scammers who've been scammed. Linda is giving the money to Dateline to return to Michael.
Well, I got something for you, Michael.
Here you go.
Thank you. All the money I owe the bank. It's definitely coming in handy.
Obviously, Michael was lucky. Most victims, like Carol Browning in Alabama, discover that once you wire money, it's all but impossible to get it back. And with the second economy creating new targets for the job scam every day, the FBI says everyone should be on guard.
We've seen people who are highly educated who have been victimized by these types of scams.
So from plumbers to professors.
There's nobody who's immune from it.
Okay, we stopped the Nigerian scammer left in Malaysia later, and actually I put the links already in the week's resources. There are a lot of things for us to learn from this, and these are factual stories, and these are not fictions.
Most of us have figured out by now that
Well, do you know what's going on after watching the 3 episodes? Do you have some ideas what's going on? You're looking for a part-time job. You go online to search for something which will best suit your profile. And all of a sudden, people discover this job could be good. And what it's need to be done is to do some kind of what we call transactions, okay? But it turns out that you're being used as part of the line to commit organized crime. It's a crime to steal money from someone else's bank account, okay, in the typical case, and put it in the account you create there. And they trick you to believe that these are the money they deposit into your account. And by the time you take out the money and send the money to them, when the bank discovered that it was a forge, the bank will hold you responsible for the money that you need to return. If you don't have the money is already sent out. So you become victimized. You have to pay for the loss of someone whose account was stolen, but happened to put the money into your own account, and you have to pay the bank. The bank has to change you because they discovered that the money was mistakenly into your account, and you took the money, right? So, and the other thing is, which is very outrageous, is the woman who become the clerk to pay the check for particular hackers, and the checks are so much authentic that you do not have any doubt about this. You just have to send a check. What does it mean? When you send a check, and when you were the person who received the check, you wouldn't believe that this is your salary after doing the job. And you can actually withdraw money from the bank and believing this is the salary deposit into your account, but it just days after, it's again another stealing act of transferring money from someone else's account into your own account, and the bank can reverse it, hold you responsible for that, and then you were twice victimized. Information fraud. Okay, so now I want to hold you for a couple of minutes so that you can precipitate the ideas and talk to your learning partner, and before I come back to you. So at least 5 minutes now. You've watched 3 episodes put together and you got some ideas. Now you have a question, ask your learning partner, and still two of you cannot solve it, ask another parents, okay? And see if you can come up with something that is very sensible for you. Remember, the theme today is information fraud over the internet. frog means something bad. Decided to trick someone, okay, to get someone hurt for the benefits of some kind of tricks, or here we can refer to as crime. Okay, go ahead, 5 minutes. Okay, it's almost time for us to share some of our ideas. Let's start with Angel. Hi, Angel.
Hi, good morning, everyone. From the video, I think it's an immoral behavior.
Okay.
Steal someone's money from the bank, and yes, I think it's really immoral, but I need to figure it out because I still not really understand the video.
Okay, the video talks about some people behind the scenes. They use job application as the means to attract people, to recruit people into doing something for them, right? And then of course, when they do something for them, they got paid for doing that. And normal people would believe they got a good job, okay? But in fact, what they're doing is they're trying to helping the crooked or to earn money the immoral way, actually the illegal way, and the consequence is the person hired to do the job will be responsible for paying back the money. So that is not just immoral, it's illegal, not acceptable at all. All right. So thank you very much, Angel. You have anything to say for your partner? Okay. So Giles and Timmy, do you have any ideas after watching this story? No. Have you ever heard some of your friends getting hurt because of something similar? Not yet, right? Okay. Okay, that's very good. Can you pass the microphone to say Edward? Not yet? Okay, what about you, Billy?
Okay, so I think
Okay.
the people is use the something attraction to attract the people to find jobs. The first one is, and the second one is the people it's difficult to judge this information or this website the truth or it is not truth. And when they to send the profile, the money or anything to the other
Yes.
to the people, yeah. I think it is so difficult to judge. It is.
It's okay. It's okay. Can you, Wyman? Do you have anything to share? Thank you, Billy.
Yeah. I think they are using the people's greedy.
Greedy? Okay.
To earn let the people think that there's an easy way to earn money.
Okay.
It's illegal. Just like
Okay.
the old time, someone in Macau will pay someone will pay you a money to bring some illegal material past the gates,
Okay.
the border.
Okay.
Just like
Okay.
that. Yeah, and this is the intellect and my example is a real life.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, I think the people who got the job, they believe they are working hard to earn the money. But unfortunately, good people are tricked into doing something bad. And then they were held responsible for doing that because the band will chase them after for the money lost. Okay, this is, for many of these people, I think they're not greedy, they're just hardworking. They just want to earn some more. For example, I heard in Macau, this is real for teenagers and college students too, and most of them are senior high secondary students. And actually it has been verified because the judiciary police had already produced several important commercials to remind them not to waste the trust on someone to believe they could get a good job for them. One of the typical jobs is very simple, part-time deliverer. They do not just deliver things across the border, they just deliver things inside Macau. They believe they are delivering documents, okay, from one company to another company, but actually inside the document they are actually the drugs. And personally speaking, they will not open it
to check, because these are kids, okay? They believe that these are someone else's material. My job is to do delivery, and I won't do it, all right? To open it, to check it, because that is not ethical. But one of several times it happens that the parcel was broken, and the kids discover something curious inside. And they, after consultations with some of the teachers in school, they discover that it's best for their interest to turn this to the police. And the police discover that actually it was a network organized by people behind. They recruit good students to deliver those materials to different locations. And they're not delivering this material to nightclub or whatever, it's just delivering to offices. So it was a bad thing. In case there's something bad happened, it was the students who are delivering this, they will be caught and punished, right? So example like this. But now this is done online. People believe that they're just doing things good because I'm just helping one company to send check to the employee, right? And then those checks are fake check. They will not check it, but they produce it because they receive instructions from their boss, right? Because once they got hired, and they were tricked into doing something they believe are legitimate, legal, and practically this is what it's supposed to do. But the question is, they discover the check when it's being sent, when the person received a check like this, it was a fake check. But the person who received the check believes that he got paid for the check, for the job they performed. And it was cashed there, so I was hired to do that. I finished my job, I got my check, and so I took the money, and the trick comes here. The money contains more than what you deserve, and they ask you to forward 70% of the money to another person or another agency and keep 10% of that. But when you withdraw money from the bank account that is yours, the bank will consider all of this money. When they discover it's a fraud, you, the owner of the account, has to be responsible for returning all the money. But what if you've already forward 90% of the money somewhere else? You keep 10%. So you become liable to pay back to the bank. And you believe this is your salary. Is it good? So I think when you look at it from this angle, it's not just greedy. It's not greedy. It's normal people believing they're paying, doing the job to earn what they deserve. But it happens that because particularly during the days of the financial crisis, many people got laid off. They need to support the family. They need to look for jobs. And it's not the only job they got. Neither ladies there. It was an extra in-house part-time job. He or she could manage during the weekend. But it turns out that that was a trick. Okay? So that is a very interesting stuff. Could you pass the microphone to say Lancy? Hi, Lancy.
Hello. There are some similar news in China on the internet.
Internet, okay.
Yes. Some people will give information on the internet said
yes.
We need some typer.
Okay.
You can get very high
Payback?
salary.
Yes,
salary.
yes, yeah.
Maybe 100 yuan a day per day.
Okay.
Only just when you agree this job, we will send some books.
Okay.
Written by the author
Okay.
to you, and
Okay.
you have to send guarantee fee to me.
All right.
Because this book is very expensive and important.
Oh, that's the trick.
If you lost it, you have to pay for it.
Okay.
So the guarantee fee may be very high.
Okay.
And when he or she send these books often will be lost.
Okay.
I don't know how do they did.
And then they hold the person who sent the book responsible for the cost of the book.
Yes.
Ah.
So I mean, similar to
Yes,
this.
yes.
I mean, when often it take advantage of people's desire for jobs.
Right.
So when you really need something, you have to improve your realization of security.
Yes, yes, that's very
Avoid
true.
the things.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Lancy, for giving us very good information. And Anna, do you have anything to share with us?
I wonder why there is no law to protect the worker, and if
Yes.
they can get money and which they think it's their salary.
Yes.
However, after that, why will be their duty to pay that lost money? I don't know why.
Okay. Well, I very much appreciate your idea that why there is no law to help. And actually, if I could remember correctly, even in Macau, when you get hired, okay, your employer is responsible for creating a record for you in the government's financial office, because you will be held liable for the taxations that comes from your income, okay? And under this, the employer must be an explicit, properly registered entity in the society, okay, or in that particular community, which is governed by, typically in America, the state law. So if this is a rigorous employment, these are the procedure that has to be finished. And it's an employee and an employer, you're being protected by the labor laws. Now, what happened here is most of these kind of things happen in the very interesting thing called part-time job, okay? And when it's called part-time job, people, when they look for part-time job, normally they do not want to pay tax for what they earn. And so, just like a tutorial teacher, a babysitter, okay? When I was studying in the United States, the two things we can do, probably, sneaking under the law of the US, we can help babysit people's baby for 1 or 2 hours a day, or we can help doing the cleaning, okay, and mow the lawn. These kind of employment, we call it part-time employment, is not properly registered, because you cannot do that. And so, but a lot of people are doing that. And they know that if they are doing this for money they earn, and one of the very interesting things is, yes, we Chinese, we go to a restaurant, we become the waiter, and we wash the dishes, or we help in the kitchen. And normally, during summer holiday, when you go to Florida, the Chinatown or whatever it is, a lot of the Chinese students will go there to work there, to earn the money, but they are not registered citizens. They are not properly contract, because they cannot do that. All right. So there are a lot of the rooms there to fill up this gap for people to look for this kind of job, and they know the risks. But normally, if it's not physical risks to the persons, they believe it's okay. But this kind of risk, it's very personal, because in the cyber space, when they have the informations of your account, what they want to deposit money into the account for what you do. Looks like very legitimate, right? But you never know that after the deposit, when the bank discovered that the deposit itself was an actions of fraud or mistake, and actually the bank would just reverse the actions, asking you to repay the money. But the question is, you already withdraw the money. Right? So you become the person, or we become the person, because we're the owner of the account, to pay back to the bank. When the fact of the matter is, we were tricked to believe that these are our salary. So you see that the law cannot help you, because you're the persons involved. And it's a kind of duty you have to negotiate with the bank, and the bank will always hold you responsible because you took the money. that's affected the life, right? So that is a very tricky thing. So I hope that by saying something like this, you understand a little bit of the complexity behind this, right? But the interesting thing when you can read the third episode there, remember the Arizona State college student, right? Who believed they got some money, but when he discovered that the money was actually a fraud, the mistake, the bank hold him responsible for that. He was in debt because he needed to pay back the bank money. But interestingly, on the other side, because of the reporter's work, he discovered that the money he sent out through Western Union was actually deposited to the part-time Linda who's working there. And Linda hold the money instead of sending money back to Nigeria. The scammer, supposed to be Linda's boss, Linda gave the money to the reporter. The reporter returned the money to the college student. That it's 1 in a million chance to do that. Okay, you understand this very interesting things. Okay, may we give the chance to Sammy? Sammy, what do you think?
Well, I think we can besides the perspective that they do some hacking
Right.
and creating some fake checks.
Right.
So in addition to this technical part,
Yeah.
the disadvantage of the victims, first they are very credulous to the
Yeah.
company's name.
All right.
Because the name maybe they heard before and think it's a big company and they trust it a lot.
Right.
So they didn't think that it can be a scam. And the other thing is that the work seems to be very comfortable and well paid.
Yeah.
Yes, but actually I think there's no such things like a free lunch. So if we are provided with such well paid and easy jobs, I think people should be more cautious.
Right. And many of this kind of things happen not because the job is well paid. Many of the people think that it's a job that will receive the due amount of salary. And that is the trick, okay? So I thank you very much for your comments. Oh, yes. Do you want to say something here? You want to say something? I could give you the microphone if you want to say something.
Yeah, I think the scams are everywhere.
Yes.
No matter how desperate you want to get a job, we better pay attention to our information security. That is always the priority.
Right. Thank you. That's why at the school, even at the University of Macau, we do have the placement center to help you as an individual college student to look for jobs which come from proper sources and which would not take advantage of you. All right. So now today, another thing I would like to share with you is to help you learn to use the wiki from the Ubuntu environment. Okay. Now, let's say on every specific study for week number 5, okay, that it's studying with the second learning contract. I've given each one of you, each pair of you, a collaborations wiki. Now, what is meant by a wiki is basically a web system where you can write something just like using a text editor, okay? So long it goes something like this, okay? It has a name and it asks you, do you want to create a page? Definitely, you need to say yes because anything starts with the first page. So remember, when you come to the wiki system, always you check the HTML format. We do not do anything other than this, okay? Make sure you do not check this, Creole, or you do not check this and Wiki, okay? Just check the HTML format. This is the number one thing you need to know. Now what are you going to do here? For example, I am pair 01, okay? So I'm a member of pair 01. Then the two of you in pair 01 will be able to come to this page looking into pair 01, this particular name. Well, one more wiki you can look at is the wiki that is associated with your personal name. As you can see that this is the name here, this is the particular pair, all right? So
Each one of you, when you come to this particular wiki page, should be able to see two specific names. One is the personal name, the other is the pair name. Now remember, if you want to work with your member, you must use the pair names wiki. You do not use the personal names wiki, because when you use the personal names wiki, only you can see it. Okay, you can write on it. Your learning partner cannot. The purpose here of giving you the wiki is to enable two of you in your pair to be able to write on the same wiki together. Okay? So let's say we go back to pair 01 and we say create this page. We click this create this page particular button. And after that, you will see that you will be brought back to a very familiar text editor. This is the same text editor you use in the discussion forum, the same text editor you use in your journal, okay? But here it is under the wiki. So normally it just works the same, but there is something different from a normal wiki to a normal web page. That is, a wikis allow more than one person to write on it, and a wiki allows you to generate as many pages like this one as you like. So the technique you need to learn is how to write on this text editor to generate a page. For example, this is your front page. So this is a front page for CISG113 section 1 and pair 01. Okay, so I just type in something like this, and suppose in this particular pair you want to create a common space for the two of you to write on it. So I would like to add a common space. Okay. All right. After that, you want to create an individual space for each one of you. So now you have a common space, and then you have an individual space. Let's give the common space one name. Let's call it a pair space. In order to emphasize that this is an online space, I call this pair e-space. Now suppose the two persons there is John. I would say I have John's e-space, and then another person is Mary. I would have Mary's e-space. Okay? So based on your idea, I have created a format now, which is the collaborations page, which contains a pair e-space and then the individual space. In order to distinguish this pair space from the other pair space, I would say 01, because you're pair 01. And then if you want to use this collaboration space to create a storage cabinet to keep track of your meeting minute, this is what you can do. Or you can say pair 01's meeting minutes. Now I got a framework of spaces where we can go into the common space to work together. We can go in the individual space to work on our own. We can come back to the storage cabinet and put something there. Now the question is, all of these require one single technique. How can I create this page from the front page? So the trick is very simple. You just need to remember that, and there's only one trick. If you want to create a space for a particular page, you put the name under or within two pair of square brackets. Okay? So I'm going to put those names within 2 pair of square brackets. Now, the next things I need to do is to save them. After I've saved them, you can see that those names that are put within 2 pair of square brackets turn red and they become italics. That means they are now ready for you to create the page. They are called links now. The links will give you access to the next page. Now, the front page is located at level 0. The next page, pair 01 E-space, will be 1 level below level 0, is called level 1. And John E-space, Mary E-space, and pair 01 minute space is also 1 level below the level 0. So now suppose I would like to create the pair E-space. What I need to do is make sure you're in view status. Minutes ago, we're in the edit status. If you want to get back to edit status, we click the edit tab over there and you got back here. If you believe it's okay, you can go back to the view particular status, because a wiki will always give you 2, or better say 3 important buttons. One is the view button to look at what you want after you've done something, to do something with the edit, to change something, and then after edit, if you believe this is what you want, you save them. These 3 important buttons are very important. Now, we at the front page, I would like to go back and create your e-space. If I click the red link here, when I click the red link, I will be presented, or better say, you will be presented with this same dialog box, which asks you, do you want to create a new page with this particular name, pair 01 e-space? And remember, you need to check HTML format, forget about the other 2. And this is belong to the group pair 01. So if that is what you want, say click create page. Now you will be brought to a text editor with the name pair 01 e-space. Okay, and you can edit something here. Alright? So what do you want to put in your e-space? Perhaps you want to have journals. You want to have some discussion details. So the journals will come from John's journals and Mary's journal, and the discussion details will come from your peer online forums. Okay, perhaps week 01. Week 02. Something like this. Okay? So you need some space to create, you need some space to store John's journal. So again, you apply the same tricks. You want to create space to carry John's journal. So you put John's journal within 2 pairs of square brackets, and you put Mary's journal within another 2 pairs of square brackets. Okay, the same for the other 2. And once you save them here, you will see that they are turned into red links again. Okay? So now, John's journals and Mary's journals are 1 level below level 01 and 2 levels below level 00. So you can see that you can have a hierarchies of pages. Now, how can I get back to the front page? So in order to get back to the front page, I need what we call a home page. In order to know where the home page is, you need to make the best use of map here. When you click on map here, you can see that you have a number of pages here. Okay, so that is the collaborations wiki, and that is the e-space here. So maybe this is what you need. So you copy the linked locations here. All right, you copy the linked locations. You go back to edit. And so you want to go back to the front page. So now I create the home link. I type the home link, so I need to create a home link, so I highlight the home link. I use the link here, and I put down the link locations I copied earlier, and perhaps I want to create a new window for that, so I say insert. Now, I save this. So after I've saved this, you can see that I have a home link here. What happened if I click on the home link? I will be brought back to the front page. Okay, this is the front page. Okay, so when I go to the e-space here, I have this particular second narrow page, and I have a home link. Now what if I want to use the home link and propagate the home link to the second level? So now I create a page for Mary's journal. So this is Mary's journal under page 01. Again, everything remains the same. HTML, I create a page. So maybe this is Mary's journal. First of all, I paste the home link here by pressing Ctrl-V. All right? And then I got Mary's journals from week number 1. Better say, learning contract number 1. Learning contract number 2. This comes from JWK01, representing journal from week number 1. JWK02, JWK03, JWK04. These are the journal for the first 4 weeks. And you have JWK0 for week number 5, JWK06, JWK07. All right? So suppose these are the journals. Of course, you can always create a link here to create enough space to carry the details of your week 1 journal. Okay? So let's just do one example, and we save it. So you can see that if I want to look at Mary's week 1 journal under learning contract 001, I could click on this link to create this page again. But if I want to go back to the front page, I just click on the home link, and I will walk back to the front page. So that is the basic trick. Okay? You will not see this kind of links in any other text editor except in the wiki. Now you have a chance to use it because after this week, starting next week, you will be in the third learning contract working as teams. And so you will have a team wiki, okay? And the team wiki will enable the 4 of you to come to this space and type in your work. And so the first thing you need to do is to create a framework of links. Where you're going to store your meeting minute, where you're going to store the individual journal, discussion details, the report, the blog, the proposal, something like this, right? So basically is a linear structure. You need to use the linear structure to create your hierarchies of detail so that when any one of your team, or including me, walk into your Wiki space, I know what you're doing. All right? So this is something very important. Well, having said that, I have to end today's class by taking attendance now. It's already past 15 of 11. So remember, by the end of this week, we need to submit the artifacts for learning contract number 2. All right? And then starting next week will be on problem-based learning. Angela is here. Horace is not here. Andy is here. Anna is here. Andy, are you here today? Andy. Andy is not here today. Billy is here. Giles is here. Timmy is here. Wyson is here. Sammy is here. Nancy is here. Sophie, you're here, right? And Edward is here. Thank you very much. You're free to go. If you have a question, you can stay behind and ask me, okay? But for me, let me just stop the camera. So that's it for today on CISG113, Section 1, Information Security and Privacy. Until next week, week number 8. Stay tuned.